this is Nativerobin, and on this snowy afternoon, I was a little bored and thought, why not make up some of Nativerobin's dehydrated beef stroganoff for the trail? Check it out. Okay, the ingredients that I'm going to use, I'm going to dehydrate in bulk so that I don't have to go through all this the next time I have it on the trail. But it's a very simple little recipe. Okay, the recipe simply takes dehydrated celery, some dehydrated mushrooms, some dried brown gravy mix, rotelle pasta, some dehydrated beef, and sweet onions. I'll get these ready and show you how I fire them up and put them into the dehydrator. Okay, so far as the beef goes, I just bought some inexpensive lean sirloin steak. I bought a small cut just because I'm going to slice it up. I want to try to slice it in 1/4 inch or less slices, and I'm going to fry those in the skillet and drain the fat and rinse it and pat it dry. But just simple case here. You can even buy pieces of pre-cut meat that says it's for stir fry sometimes in the store. That'll work pretty good too. So I'll get this cut up and get it in the skillet. Okay, after I cut them in thin slices, I chopped them into about 1-inch sections so that they'll fit on a fork easy when I'm on the trail. It's always easier to cut them up now than when you're out there and you go, where's my knife? So we'll put them in here and we're going to brown them up. It doesn't take long to brown this meat, but once it's browned on both sides and cooked real well, I'm going to drain it, rinse it off, pat it dry, and get it in the dehydrator. Okay, so with the celery, I just cut it once down the middle, the stalk, and then just go ahead and chop it up into as uniform pieces as I can. Hopefully around 1/4 inch to 3/16, but you want them to be the same as you can so they all get done about the same time. Now a lot of people like to dehydrate fresh mushrooms and slice them up. I just get the canned ones. They're sliced, rinse them off, pat them dry, and we'll get those in the dehydrator as well. Okay, we're out at the dehydrator, and on the top level, I'm going to put the meat pieces. I'm going to go ahead and not put a screen on because I think these are big enough to hold them. I just want to make sure that they're not touching so the air can get to everything evenly and dry it out. So just kind of space them on here, and as they dry they'll shrink some too. So just as long as they're not on top of each other, you'll be okay. The celery will be my next layer, and for that I'm going to go ahead and use this size of screen right here. I know it's going to shrink up. I may end up having to use two layers of these. We'll see. There again, they shrink up quite a bit. Okay, now on the bottom layer, I'm going to put the mushrooms because they really only need to be at a temperature of about 125 degrees. And I'm going to have it about 145 for the meat. Now keep in mind, you might as well dehydrate as much as you can when you run your dehydrator because it costs you exactly the same amount of electricity. You might as well get all you can from it. The problem is for me on this project, I can't do the onions with this stuff or everything will smell and taste like onions. So that's my mushrooms. I'll put those on. Then the celery. Then the meat. And like in my previous videos, meat says 160. And fruits and vegetables say 135, so I generally just split the difference and run it at 145 and watch things. I may have to take off the celery and mushrooms first and the meat last, but that's not a problem. Okay, now a dehydrator is going to have to run for anywhere to 8 to 12 hours. So it's going to run, probably not going to put this together till tomorrow, but I can't emphasize enough to not do your onions with everything else. But we'll put this stuff together, and tomorrow we'll have a delicious beef stroganoff that you can make on the trail or really anywhere. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, so the dehydrator is all done, and I got my dehydrated stuff. I'll show you how it turned out. Okay, the 3 pounds of onions dehydrated down to 1 bag, a whole stalk of celery dehydrated to that, a whole sirloin steak dehydrated down to that, and the whole can of mushrooms went to that. So I'm going to use these ingredients to put together my beef stroganoff. Now, it's going to be in two parts. There's going to be the pasta that will first boil with some of the dehydrated items, and then I'm going to add a powder that I'm going to make from McCormick's brown gravy mix. It'll have a little cornstarch, a little beef bouillon, some paprika, and salt and pepper to taste. I'll make sure to put the ingredients in the description of the video. Okay, conspicuously missing from my ingredients is sour cream. I don't particularly care for sour cream, and I didn't want to dehydrate any. But remember, with this recipe and all my stuff, if you like sour cream, you can certainly buy powdered sour cream and add a teaspoon of that. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my brown gravy mix, and it's just like I said, it's McCormick's. I bought this for 50 cents on sale at the store. And I'm going to take a teaspoon of this and put it in my mixing bowl. Got a bowl. I'm going to take a heaping tablespoon, because I've kind of measured that there's 2 in there. Almost 3 in a bag, so there's a whole heaping tablespoon of that. I should be able to get 2 servings out of that one bag. I'm going to take some of the beef bouillon. I'm going to take a little quarter teaspoon of this, just to help give it a little extra beef flavor. Paprika, I want to take 1/8 of a teaspoon, but it can be heaping because I like paprika. Okay, same with the pepper. I like pepper, but I don't want to go overboard, so a little 1/8 of a teaspoon there, and then certainly salt to taste. Some people will leave salt out because the gravy might have enough already, but I like salt. And then the last thing I'm going to add to my little ingredient is some cornstarch. And I'll probably go ahead and take a good heaping quarter teaspoon of that as well. Put that in there. Now thicken it up. And basically that's how I'm going to mix my powdered ingredients. And I can put these in a small Ziploc bag and put it in with my pasta and other dried ingredients for the trail and add it separately. So I'll mix these all up and we'll get this thing fired up. Okay, I'm going to combine all the dry ingredients and cook those in the canteen, and we'll get the water boiling first, and we'll get it, I'm going to use about 12 ounces to 16 ounces of water. I'm just going to use my canteen cup, which is a quart, so I'll fill it about halfway, maybe a little less, and get that boiling, and then we'll add the dry ingredients. Okay, I added my rotelle macaroni, a cup of that. I threw in about half of my beef. I threw in half of the can of the dehydrated mushrooms, a teaspoon of the lettuce, and about a teaspoon and a half or so of the onions. I'm going to boil this for about 10 minutes. Okay, so we've been boiling now for a good 10 minutes. Things looking pretty good in there. I'm going to go ahead now and add all of the dry ingredients. And when you get say a Coleman or something, trail meal, they do the same thing. It's often in a 2-step process, so I figured, hey, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And we'll mix this up real good, and I'm gonna let it boil another 5 minutes and thicken up with all the dry ingredients I just added. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do when I'm out in the woods is to use my koozie. And I'm going to pour this into my koozie and let it set for about 5 minutes to just help all the rehydrated stuff kind of give a little more time to rehydrate and everything kind of mix together. But so far it's looking really, really good. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. Take it out of here. Just had a chance to kind of rehydrate everything, and looks pretty good. I'm going to pour it out so you can kind of see it. Look at that. Gosh darn. We've got the dehydrated sirloin steak in there, the celery popped up, the onions, and a nice gravy with my spices in it. Now, like I said, I didn't put sour cream in it, but you definitely can get you some dried powdered sour cream and add that if you like it more creamy. I like the brown gravy, so that's kind of what I went with. That's how it turned out. Now, I had enough leftover things that I'm gonna go ahead and make a package for the trail for my next video, and I'm gonna put that in my vacuum packer. Okay, now to get ready for the trip, I put all the dry ingredients in my bag, Ziploc bag, kind of shook them up. Now, one tip I'll give you on your meat, if you cut it, the smaller you cut it, the better it will rehydrate for you and the quicker. Then I take the dry ingredients, I've had a little Ziploc baggie just to separate them. I put it in there, kind of squeeze the air out. So, make sure it's here. There you go. Just like that, one bag of trail chow. That'll go in the that vacuum packer. I've even seen people put like a fork or a spoon in there that you get, like a plastic one, so you got everything you need all in one bag. Okay, so this is what you end up with: a nice light little package of your dry ingredients plus your powdered stuff. This is Nativerobin's beef stroganoff for the trail, and so until next time, happy trails.